Yesterday, I was talking a little bit about this crisis I was having because I started to realize, man, what am I doing with my life? I'm working in the church. I'm trying to share faith with people, helping people try and understand who Jesus is. And I felt like I wasn't seeing the results, especially long term, that I was really hoping for. And the more and more I've been in the church, I've realized this wasn't just a personal crisis, but this is a pretty big crisis. They say the definition of insanity is, doing the same thing over and over again and expecting new or different results. And in a lot of ways, this is what we do in the church, when it comes to sharing faith or teaching the faith to kids. We've been doing the same thing and we expect or want different results. We just hope, something's going to be different, something's going to change. But the reality is we are facing crisis mode in the church because kids don't know their faith. Kids don't know who Jesus is. Adults don't have personal relationships with Jesus. We are in full-fledged crisis mode when we look at the statistics. We see what's happening. And so how do we fix this crisis? Sometimes we can boil things down to, we need some leadership development, or we need to really, make our process more effective. And in a lot of ways, what happens sometimes is we make a more effective delivery system to deliver the same terrible product we've been delivering. And so, today I want to just stop and say, how do we get to a solution? How do we start to change hearts and lives? And how do we effectively, share faith with people? This week we started by looking at our personal relationship and really saying that we need to carve out our own time for God. And nothing is more important in my life than my relationship with God, because I can't give to other people what I don't have. And so as we journey and we start to look at this crisis, I want to say it's a pretty big crisis. But here's the good news is we know we have a solution in Jesus. And I want to start to really think about how do we wrap our minds around that solution, and how do we deliver that solution to people? How do we introduce people to Jesus? Whether it's our kids, whether it's people that we're working with in a church or ministry situation, or maybe it's our neighbor next door. And I'm really excited to tell you a little bit more tomorrow about our newest course, the newest thing that we're doing, sharing faith. And so look out tomorrow for another video. But today I want to ask you, what does that crisis look like, on a broad scale? How are you seeing this in your church? What's going on? What's really affecting how kids are coming to know Jesus? Why are we in such a decline? What is the crisis? So that's a question I'd love to hear from you about today, whether it's via email or in the discussion below.